What's up, my YouTube family? Thank you guys for tuning in today. Thank you guys for tuning into my channel. I'm back with another video. Okay, so I had 2 or 3 people to ask me how I prepare my dressing, and I'm going to do a video. I think there's a video that I have out on my channel already, but it's not as detailed. It's not as clear. So I'm gonna take my time today, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly how I make my chicken dressing. Okay, so now let me just say this to you. I've seen it made a couple of ways. Some people now the first step to making my dressing is you have to have a good pan of cornbread. That depends on how much you're making. Now I'm not doing a lot, so I'm not making a big pan. So all I'm going to do is maybe this pan here be enough for us. So, but the first thing you do is you make your dressing. And you make your cornbread. And there's 2 different ways you can do your cornbread. Some people use cornbread or Jiffy corn muffin mix. And the only thing you do with this is you follow the directions on the box. Which it says 1 box of Jiffy corn muffin mix, 1 egg, 1/3 cup of milk. Preheat your oven to 400. Just follow the directions on the box if you decide to use this. Now, if you want to use regular cornmeal, self-rising cornmeal, and all-purpose flour, you can use cornmeal and flour. If you don't want to use this out of the box, use some regular meal and some regular flour. Or use self-rising cornmeal and some flour. That's it. And follow the directions. You can add in what you want to add in, and simple as that. But I like that this box has like a semi-sweet texture to it, it's not sweet, but I like the way it tastes. So that's what I'm going to be using in my dressing. I'm showing you guys how I prepare my dressing. My family love it, and I love it, and that's the way I'm going to continue to prepare it. So the first step is to make your cornbread. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing at this time. So all I did at this time was I poured a box of corn muffin mix inside of my bowl here. Now I did add in some cornmeal with this just to thicken up the texture of it and to make just a little more. Instead of me having to use 2 boxes, I just added in some cornmeal with it. So that's what you see here in front of you. That's what it looks like. And so all I did was I took my thing and just and got all the big lumps out of it. And so all I want to do here is add in, I'm getting ready to put this in the oven so it can melt the butter, okay? Once this butter is melted, I'm going to pour it in my bowl. I'm getting ready to add in 2 eggs because I have a little more muffin mix than usual. So I'm doing 2 eggs instead of 1. And I'm also using carnation milk to mix this up. Not water. I'm using milk. This is how I make mine. So like I said, I'm showing you guys how I do it. So the first step is I'm going to put this in the oven, let this butter melt, and I'll bring you guys back once it's melted. Okay, now while I have that in the oven and while that butter is melting, I'm going to go ahead and add in my eggs. Now the way I'm going to do this is I could bust my egg open in here, but I don't want any eggshells in it, so I'll do it in a separate bowl. But I want to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. Alright. So we're going to mix up our eggs. Make sure you don't have any shells in there. All right. Mix up your eggs. We're going to add our eggs in here. So that's 2 eggs. And then on my milk, I had some extra milk left from the other can that I used. And I always save it because I use it a lot. So I always save it in a container. So at this point, it tells you to add whatever the box tells you to add. But in my case, I don't measure, and I know the texture that I want. So I just pour just a little bit to start with. And then I'll mix it up. And then if I see that I want a little more milk, I'll add a little more milk. So once the butter melts, I'll pour my butter in here, and I'll bring you guys back and let you see that part. I just want to be very detailed with this video. So I'll see you guys back in just a second. Okay, y'all, and I'm back. So I have my butter here. It's not fully melted, which is fine. I could just move it around in the part that's already melted. My pan is good and hot. And just trying to let that part melt a little bit. Just add that right on in here. That's all I'm going to do. Okay. It's hot. Make sure you use some gloves when you take that out of there like that. All right. So we're going to mix in. So all we have is our corn mixture, cornmeal or Jiffy cornbread, whichever one you choose to use. I have in here my milk, and I have my 2 eggs. See, I added 2 eggs because I added in a little more cornmeal than usual. So that means you have to alternate your recipe. Okay, so my pan is nice and hot. I got my butter in here. And we're going to get ready to pour it inside of here and put it back in the pan, in the oven, and let it bake up. Mix it up good. Okay, so we're going to take out the dish here. So it's still hot. It's still hot. Let's pour a mixture. Make sure you got all everything mixed up good. Sometimes you have a little dry ingredients in the corner. Make sure it's mixed up good. This is especially good for stuff like this here. Pour it right on in your pan. None left behind. All right. Set that there. Take our dish, move it around in there. Make sure it's evenly. But of course it doesn't matter because we want to be crumbling it up to make our dressing with it. Okay, so now it's ready to go in the oven. I got my oven on 350, and it usually takes me about 25 to 30 minutes until it's done. But I want to kind of dry it out because I'm going to make my dressing today. Now, the best way to do this is make your cornbread at least the night before. That way it can be dried out a little bit, but I don't have time for that. So I'm just going to let it cook maybe an extra couple of minutes more to help it dry out some. But I'm getting ready to stick it in my 350-degree oven, and I'll bring you guys back and we'll be ready for the next step. Okay, you guys, and I'm back. So I showed you the first part of my cornbread, making my cornbread or my chicken dressing, which is the cornbread, and it's in the oven baking. And my next step is the kind of meat that you like to use. Now, you can either do chicken or turkey, or whatever type of meat you like to use. Let me show you what I use. Now, today I have 6 boneless, skinless chicken thighs in this pot, along with 5 legs. Now, that's a lot of meat. I mean, we like a meaty chicken dressing. We like to taste the meat in it. Some people take their some people take the mixture and lay the chicken on top. There's many ways you can do it. I'm gonna show you this one way today. Simple and easy. You got your chicken or your turkey meat. I have the 5 legs in here. I have 6 boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I've already washed and cleaned it. I have it on like a medium-high heat because I want to go ahead and start cooking. And all I did was wash and clean it, cover the chicken with water. And I'm getting ready to add in some seasonings. Now, at this point, I'm just going to add in, I have some, this is nice. This is a good flavor. It's chicken bouillon. Chicken flavor bouillon. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. But anyway, this is what it is. I'm just going to put just a little bit of this in here. Not much. Because this is the broth that I will be using to mix up my cornbread and stuff, the mixture. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this here. All this is chicken. This is just going to enhance the chicken flavor. I'll take a little bit of this and put in there. Okay. It's going to make a good broth, and you want your dressing to have a good flavor, nice flavor to it. You want to be flavorful. So this stuff is kind of salty, so I'm not going to even add any salt in here, okay? You don't need to add salt because sometimes you don't want to make it too salty. So those two, I put that in there. I'm going to put in a little pepper. And some people don't even season their water or their broth, but this is where your flavor is going to be at, because this is the broth that you're going to be mixing inside of your cornbread mixture. And then I have 2 stalks of celery, the leaves and all. 2 stalks of celery that I've finely chopped. Well, I mean, roughly chopped. It doesn't have to be chopped too fine, not at this point. This is not going to go inside of my dressing. There's a second part to this. Right now, I'm just going to roughly chop 2 sticks of celery with the leaves on it. Put it in here. All this is just going to season my broth. And then I have a roughly chopped onion. It's a small onion. I'm just going to throw that in here. Okay. Now I am going to be coming back with more celery, more onions, and bell pepper. But that's going to be finely chopped, and it's going to be sauteed in my butter. And then that's what's going to be cooked. That's what's going to be put inside of my dressing. This here is just going to flavor my broth for the dressing, the chicken, so they have nice flavor to it. I hope I'm explaining this to you guys good. I'm kind of getting, my words are getting tangled up, but you can understand what I'm saying. Okay, so you let this boil, let the chicken cook, and we have our cornbread in the oven cooking. I'm going to put a lid on this while this is cooking. Let it get nice and tender. And then once this is done, we're going to remove the chicken from the broth. And we're going to take the chicken out of the broth and remove all the chicken from the bone. Or, set the chicken apart. And we're going to be mixing inside. And also, you can go ahead and have a few eggs. Now, some people put raw eggs in their dressing. I don't. I like to cook my eggs, and we like lots of eggs. So I'm probably going to make a big enough pan where I can have some left, and that way I'll be able to freeze it. But I am going to chop up. It may not take all 6 eggs. Probably about 5. At least 4 to 5 eggs I'll be putting in there. But I'll show you guys when we get to that step. But you can, at this point, you can go ahead and boil your eggs if you're going to follow my recipe. Now, I don't put raw eggs in my dressing. I put boiled eggs chopped up in it. So this is my recipe that I'm showing you guys. Because a lot of people ask me, give me the recipe to that dressing. I'm making a video. I'm showing you how I do it. So I'll see you guys on the next clip.